Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, gentlemen, thanks for joining me. I would like to just pick off where the previous member was asking about the natural gas industry. And one of the most frustrating things that we're going to hear throughout this process, Mr. Secretary, is that the only way to generate revenue for the Commonwealth vis-a-vis the natural gas industry is to slap a national leading severance tax on it. But the fact is, Pennsylvania for years, the general fund has benefited from the natural gas industry due to the Oil and Gas Lease Act fund, the Oil and Gas Lease Fund. Can you comment about the, obviously the governor is looking for an additional $75 million in this budget, but before we look forward, can we talk about where we've come and how much revenue the state has seen through the Oil and Gas Lease Fund over the years?
Yes, the governor obviously has asked for this in years back, and he wanted a very narrow but realistic perspective of truly what was being generated, sort of tax revenues that were coming from the companies that were directly involved in the extraction of gas and the immediate distribution. So we ran NAICS codes, and we have maintained them over the years. We are looking at, on average, about $300 million from 4 categories of businesses involved in the immediate extraction of natural gas, and that includes C&I, CSFT, sales and use tax, and withholding tax, not personal income from royalties. That would be another $70 million a year, by the way.
So, Mr. Secretary, if we could just, for lack of time, agree that the $300 million that we just point to arbitrarily, and we will hear throughout the next few months, we can already point to by the decision to encourage business rather than just take the severance tax route. We are generating hundreds of millions of dollars for the Commonwealth in revenue without leading the nation in another tax, correct?
Correct.
And actually, I think the previous governor and the minority chairman of the Appropriations Committee was just reported recently talking about the $400 million that Governor Rendell had spent from the Oil and Gas Lease Fund towards the last few years of his administration. So it's not even just this administration that has benefited from it, but the administration of the past as well. And the frustrating part about this is that despite all the successes or all the benefits that Pennsylvania has seen, and not just in Washington County or in Bradford County, but the refineries in Delaware County or Williamsport or one of the largest corporations looking to build the first cracker plant in the Appalachian region, the first one in the United States here in Pennsylvania, despite all those wins, we still have to come up here and defend why we shouldn't lead the nation in another tax. And this concept that, if you could just also comment from your experience, that if we just slap a tax on industry, that there will be no ramifications to that industry, so that, let's just say, arbitrarily raise the C&I to a higher level. The idea that revenue is going to double just because you increase the rate, I mean, that's not the case, correct? There are ramifications for putting tax increases, and while the drillers are here today, they necessarily may not be here if we lead the nation in another severance tax, correct?
Yes, absolutely correct, Representative. And it's happened elsewhere. It happened in West Virginia a few years back when an additional 5.9% severance tax was imposed there. We saw our rig drilling go up and our pipeline activity increase, and there's decline. Many like to say how Texas has a 5% severance tax. Well, they do not have a 9.9. They don't have any. They have a 0% C&I tax. Mm-hmm. So it's truly not an apples-to-apples comparison. We're bringing in all the revenues that are due, the taxes that are expected, and the impact fee, as far as the governor was concerned, made sense because the industry did bear more of a cost on government services than other industries, and that was determined via the Marcellus Commission, headed by Lieutenant Governor Jim Cawley. And so it seemed a reasonable approach. So as counties received back the impacts in costs that they were needed to deal with, and the quality control, DEP, and enforcement funding was made available to assure that this industry moved forward with the highest levels of quality in the country.
The previous member made it sound like and almost explicitly said that the state wasn't benefiting at all from the impact fee and the revenues associated, but that's not true, correct? I mean, whether it's protecting the environment or other investment opportunities we have, the state is benefiting financially from the impact fee, correct?
In order to allow the industry to move forward in a responsible manner, those costs would have those expenses would have needed to take place, and those costs would have been felt elsewhere, likely from the general fund.
And one last point, Mr. Secretary, at the very beginning, you mentioned the hard work of your department to increase services but to reduce your operating costs. I think you mentioned your complement has come down by 170 positions. You've saved over $5 million, I believe, in operating costs. I will say the one area of opportunity when looking at the budget for us to work on in the next few months, it does look as if there's 69 vacant positions that are obviously vacant but are funded. I think if we could, because you also are requesting an operating your GGO increase of $3.2 million. If we could find a way in tough budget times to reduce those 69 vacant yet funded positions, I think that would be even more money for the programs you mentioned and to benefit the taxpayers. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.